Can we go back, back to where we? Can we go back to where we started off? Started.
Hi guys, how are you? It is Tuesday, and I just wanted to come on here real quick. I'm trying to show my face more on Instagram and do more lives and things like that, and try to engage more with the audience and the people I follow and vice versa. I feel like when you're talking about something that you're passionate about, like whatever it is, whether it's like a hobby or a job or a product or just trying to support other people, it's good, I think, sometimes to show your face periodically so people can kind of get that personal feeling. And that's kind of what I'm about when it comes to Pure Sessions. Like I mentioned last episode, 2 episodes ago, episode 60, I been MIA for a minute because I've kind of just been dealing with mental issues, focusing on myself, trying to heal myself and just kind of get grounded, with COVID and being home and just kind of every day running into the next day. It kind of gets a little redundant. So I feel like I try to do different things at least once a day. It was first the walks every day, walk somewhere different every day, whether it's a park or a street or even a different town. Then, as it gets colder or got colder and it gets dark at 2 o'clock, I do drives. I love driving. I feel like it's a great way for me personally to just clear my mind. Whether it's an hour drive or a 2 hour drive. And I always trying to see new things, new places, new people, whatever the case may be. And for me, as well as doing those things, I've tried new activities or tried to do something that I wasn't doing last year. So that varies from playing the saxophone or playing the trumpet or, now doing real estate. What else? Or DJing, doing different genres of music and things like that. I feel like if you try something, and I always say this at the end of each episode, but it's true. If you try something different today than you did the day before, you learn so many new things, whether it's, oh, hey, I can actually do this if I try it this way, or hey, I'm actually really good at this, let me try doing it this way. And I feel like it sounds easier said than done, because of course anybody can try something different, but it's the fact of having that passion behind it, that interest behind it. Because if you're just doing something just because you're bored on Tuesday, then what's the point? Because you're just doing it because it's Tuesday. But if you are doing something because you genuinely enjoy it, then it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like, oh my god, I gotta do this now before the end of the day, but versus, oh my god, I can't wait to do this because I love this is amazing, I get joy out of it. And in life, people go a lifetime without finding their joy, their passion, their thing, if you will. And the reason why I kind of titled this episode, I'm Lana, by the way, it's Pure Sessions, what's your passion? Because that can vary from a bunch of different things. I know when I come on here, I'm always talking about being an artist or music or trying new things, etc. But your passion can just be praying every day. That could be your passion. Your passion can be doing yoga 3 times a week, which, trust me, I tried that in the beginning and it's hard. But anyway, your passion can be, trying skydiving or bungee jumping or snowboarding. That could be your passion, to say, hey, I want to check this off before the new year starts. I want to check this off for this month. And I feel like before COVID, because we're not really back to normal yet, unfortunately, but before COVID, I feel like it's always good to kind of explore new areas. For me, when I'm driving places that I've gone to for many years, I always try to take a different route home, because I want to see what else is down this street or what else is down this road. If you keep going, it's the same thing with your life. It's the same thing with doing the same thing over and over again. If you keep going down or driving down the same one road, you're never going to see anything new. You're never going to try anything new because you're used to going this one way. You're used to turning here or stopping at this sign. But if you say, let me take a right over here instead of a left, and maybe go down this road and see where this ends up, you might find something new. And that's kind of what I've been trying to do. And I use myself, not because I want to talk about myself, but I use me as an example of it's a work in progress, trying new things, finding your passion, finding your niche, finding your, this is you. Like, it's hard. And I feel like people say, oh, you're just complaining, or, oh, you're just, oh, thank you, I appreciate it, hi. I appreciate it. No, you guys are the true MVPs. I'm just here. I'm living in your world. But people just say, oh, oh, you're complaining, or you're just saying stuff. Everybody has it worse. There are other people who have it worse than you do. That could be true, but we're not here to compare war stories. Everybody has their own journey, and everybody goes through things in their own way. It may not be like the one way to do it, right? Like, there's always multiple ways to do something, right? So, like, say if you, like, you're an artist, right? Let's say you're a DJ, like what I do, or you make music. Like, I've learned to engineer music now. I've learned to master and mix music now, because a year ago I couldn't do any of it, right? I could barely DJ because I was just like, all I want to do is just play music. Like, that's where my mind was. Like, I didn't want to learn any other techniques. I didn't want to learn any of, what's this button do? How do you add in this effect? How do you add in this? If you turn down this cue, what will happen to these beats per minute? And if you use a 160 beat per minute song with the 190 beat per minute song, how will you get it to match the beat match? Like, I just want to play. But I had to, like, step away and be like, okay, you love music, of course, but it's also always good to learn the fundamentals behind your craft, behind what you do. It's just like basketball. If you just go out playing basketball just because you love it, that's cool. That's amazing. But to make it to the big leagues, to make it to the playoffs and the NBA finals and things like that, you got to have technique behind the skills. You got to have some finesse and some, what is it? It's not, I want to say studies, but it's more so techniques on what you're doing, because everything, no matter what it is, there are somewhat sort of way to do it. But I always say that's not always the case, because I always say there's never one way to do something. Hence, like I said, with the music. So for me, my music, the reason why I make the music that I make is because I always want to make a song within a song, right? So, like, my songs now, in the beginning, they were like 6, 7, 8 minutes because I was still learning. But now my songs or my projects vary between like a minute and 40 seconds to like 3.5 to 4-ish minutes, because in the beginning of the song, it could be like an R&B song. And then by the end of the song, you're listening to like an ambient, neo-soul, trance song. And I always like to try, when I'm creating the music, I always like to try to kind of create different subgenres within the song. You know what I mean? Like, nothing wrong with just having like one genre in a song, because that's cool. But most of my music is instrumental, so I like to play with the melodies, with the keys, with the cues, and see how it goes, because it's fun. It's fun trying and experimenting with new things. And that's the same thing with what's your passion. Like, what is your passion? Like, what drives you? Like, what excites you to get up the next morning to do the same thing again, right? Whether if you do physical therapy, whether if you're a real estate agent, whether you work at a bank, whether you do arts and crafts, right? What if you host nature walks? Like, what if you, I don't know, or engineer for a train? Like, it depends on what it is. Like, whatever it is. Like, what if you are a motivational speaker, or you want to start a blog? How do you go about doing that? Who do you talk to? Where do you go? Who are your people? You know, it's always good. And I mentioned this in last week's episode. It's always good to have a community if you can find one. That's a blessing. A community of family, friends, colleagues of church, school, mentor, whatever, behind you, so you can always have somebody to talk to when you're dealing with things, right? Co-workers, cousins, whatever. And I think it's good when, say, if you guys both have the same passion, or you guys are on the same wavelength of what you want to accomplish and where you want to go and where you want to be 2, 3, 4 years from now. I think it's good to have that person, people, or village, as they say, you know, in your corner, because they can help you, because they were once where you were. You know, everybody you meet is not always where you once were, right? Like, so you could be starting out making music, and the person that you know, or the artist or the engineer or whoever you meet in the studio, whatever, can be making music or have made music for 4, 5, 6 years, and he or she or they can give you a perspective on, okay, how do you do this? How do you do that? Make this that way, make this go that way. And I think it's amazing when you can find, like I said, the community that understands the drive, right? Like, understands the creative process. Because, you know, as a creative, we're always up all the time. We're always thinking of the next move. We're always wanting to like create something that you wish existed. You always want to keep the next thing. And I feel like for when you want to find what your passion is, it can be different things. It doesn't have to be just one thing, right? It's always good to try new things, but once you find like that niche or that groove or your groove, it's cool to stick with it and go with it. Unless you finish one thing a day, right? So let's say you wanted to work on this song that you've been putting off for like 2-3 weeks, and if you finish the verses of the song, then you completed that. So now you go on to the next task. I always say you don't have to just stick to one thing, but if you want to do different things, make it count. Make the effort and the work and the time and the energy and the hours being up count. Because there's nothing worse there's no unsatisfying feeling when you feel like you've given your all 110% for months and months on end, and then the results aren't what you expected, right? Because people can tell when a thing is rushed, when a thing is forced, when the product is just there. You're just doing it just, because. Versus they can hear the passion behind you explaining and showing and listening to it. They can see the joy when you talk about it or explain it or describe it. They can feel the energy that you have when you were creating it from scratch to birth, And I feel like that's hard to find nowadays because everybody feels like if they're not doing, like say like a 9 to 5, or if they're not doing what's like normal or popular or like what's supposed to happen, or going to college and getting, a $60K job with benefits, it's like not normal. You're doing something, like I said, going down another road, going down a different street. They're like, oh, like I said before, oh, that's cute. Well, that's nice. Well, you stick with that and then whatever. But no, it's like, let me enjoy my moment. And that moment can turn into a lifetime if you let it, Sometimes, like for me, people always used to say, oh, you want to be a fashion designer. When I was in school, that was my thing. My second degree was being a fashion designer. And I was like, yeah, I want to be a personal stylist because I love designing clothes. And I want to be, helping the woman who can't find the right clothes in the store. Because I know what that's like, not able to find anything that fits you. And you got to go to like a certain store or shop for a certain thing. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's cute. But just keep doing what you're doing. Stay in school. But I'm like, you're like, you don't notice it, but you're like crushing the person's spirit with what they love to do, with what brings them joy. And it's funny because until you get to a level where people kind of like, oh, they see you making moves, they see you getting that bag, they see you making money, they don't want to have anything to do with you. They think it's just a hobby, or they think you're just doing that, or they will show support, or they'll be behind you, but to like a point, right? Like nobody, in my experience, I'm not speaking for anybody else, but in my experience, nobody really shows you support unless they see you winning. And winning in their eyes can mean getting, say, 200,000 likes or, 50,000 followers or getting signed with a deal. But no, winning is you waking up every day loving what you do, right? You winning every day is being able to say, thank you, Lord, thank you, God, or whoever you praise for allowing me to walk this earth another day. Winning is you doing your passion that you love, that not everybody can get to do, because not everybody, 1, has the time, 2, has the energy, or 3, really, really believes that if they decide to do this versus what's normal, what society sees them as doing, and taking, that risk, that leap, it's like not going to work. But you have to bet on yourself. That's kind of what I realized, especially during COVID, where I've had time to think and just see things in a different perspective. You have to bet on yourself to see, A, yes, you can do this. B, it's going to take some work. And C, not everything will come in the way or the little gift box that you want it to. Not everything will be so black and white, right? Not everything will be, okay, if I do this for, say, 4 or 5 months and I sell all these songs, or I make all this music and I talk to the right people, then okay, boom, I'm going to become famous, or boom, I'm going to be able to, travel here, travel there. You can do it, but it may not happen in the time you want it to happen, in the season that you want it to happen, and even in the income that you want to happen. Because sometimes we think, oh, if we do this, that, and the third, we work this hard and we grind this hard, we're doing so much more than this other person, that we're going to expect all this money, and we're going to expect all this fame and stuff like that. But it may not happen that way. It may take you 3-4 years to get to where you want to be and be comfortable with. Because you can be comfortable with one part of your work and grind, but then, hey, what's stopping you from going to the next level, the next level, the next level? There's no limit really to your success. The only limit that there is you. That's it. You're the limit. You are the person who stops your success. You are the person who stops what you can be. If you don't work, if you don't be consistent, and if you don't understand that everything can't happen in the way that we want it to, right? In the way that we see it. Because sometimes, for me, I'm like, oh my God, I've been doing music for X amount of Z time period, and I've been making all these songs, I got all this stuff, and I know I'm talented, but it's like, why am I not seeing the benefits of it? Well, you're not seeing the benefits of it because you're only looking at it from one point of view, right? Like, there's ways to look at things. Like, you can look at it like, oh, I just want it for the clout or the followers or the likes or whatever you want to call it. But no, for me or for most people that I know, though, that I've spoken to or, that I work with, they do it because they love it, right? It's like the passion. It's like they wake up and breathe and sleep music or whatever the craft is that they love to do. And I feel like if you keep that mantra, if you keep that momentum of keep working, keep grinding, keep pushing yourself and challenging yourself to that next level, that next top tier, I feel like eventually, it sounds cliche, eventually you'll get to where you feel, A, you're comfortable, and B, that, all that work and all that time paid off. Because, of course, if you're not seeing any benefits or if you're not seeing any results, of course you want to stop, because it's like, who wants to keep doing whatever the I don't want to say hobby because I hate that word, but whatever your passion is and not seeing different results. Because you can be doing something for 10, 15 years and never see anything, but then boom, one day something can change, or you can talk to the right person, or the right person can be around you, or the right person can hear your stuff, and then like everything as you knew it changes. But I feel like it just takes time. And I realized, again, I keep saying this during COVID, that patience and time is really, really important. Because if I was on the same wavelength that I was a year ago, before COVID started, before the lockdown started, I feel like I wouldn't be where I am today. Not saying I'm like where I want to be, but I'm so much further than where I was back then. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, not financially so much. I'm working on that, but the passions that I have, the love I have for the things that I love have grown to other little sub things that I found out, like with the music, with the saxophone, with real estate, with fashion, with DJing, with doing the podcast. Like, I feel like in the beginning when I was doing the podcast live, I would be so awkward. I would be so nervous. But now I'm like, I know I have something to say that will touch somebody wherever it is, whoever is listening or watching or whatever. And I feel like if you have, or you back up that confidence, or you back up that self-reassurance with what you say and your actions, I feel like everything else will fall into place. That's the thing I've had to learn and tell myself that, yeah, okay, I may not have 200 or 2,000 viewers on the live, or likes, or whatever you want to call it, or posts, or whatever you want to call it, or retweets, but I know somebody somewhere is hearing my message, and that's what counts. You have to realize what the reason you're in. Hold up, lose my train of thought. You have to realize the reason behind what you're doing. Like, what is it? Like I said before, are you doing it to just get likes and followers and more views? Or are you doing whatever you're doing, podcast, music, real estate, whatever the case may be, working a bank, whatever it is, because you have a message that you want to get out and that you want people to hear? Whether it's blogging, right? Whether it's talking about causes or social issues that no one wants to talk about because it's uncomfortable. Whether it's doing a podcast weekly or every other week, and then putting yourself out there so people can kind of hear what you have to say. Putting your music out there so people can judge you, because the best critics and the worst critics are your peers. That's kind of really what I've been noticing. You think your music is amazing, your family thinks music is amazing, friends, whatever, but the best way or the best results to get that you want, the honest ones, matter of fact, not just because they're family, but the honest ones, are putting it out there on your platform, using your platform for good, right? Not just using it just because you're bored. And that's what I was doing in the beginning when I first, but last year-ish, on Instagram. I was just on Instagram. Like, I wasn't doing anything with it. I wasn't like posting. I was just like scrolling, retweeting, whatever, but like using your platform, because we all have platforms, right? Whether it's Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. using the platform to say something of substance, right? Not that whatever you're doing isn't amazing, but like if you want to get past that level of just having an Instagram account, or if you want to get past that level of just having SoundCloud followers, or if you want to get past that level of just having 2-3 views on YouTube, you gotta be in it for the right reasons. You gotta be, like they say, in it to win it, but you gotta also, the main important thing is believe what you're saying, right? Because you can't be saying all this amazing advice and giving out this amazing gems and jewels and not following or even believing what you're saying, right? Because you're your own hypocrite. Like, if you believe that your passion, whatever that is what you want to do, and you're 100,000% behind it. You love it, you breathe it, you live it. You just want to do this because it makes you feel joy on the inside and outside, right? Then you got to believe that. You got to stand by that. Of course, people will knock you down. Of course, people will fake be by your side and fake support you. Of course, people will say, "Oh, that's just stupid," because something is going on with them that they haven't handled or dealt with yet, that they're projecting that onto you. I've learned nothing, if anything, during COVID. Do not take things personal. And that was always my big thing. I would always take everything personal, whether it be like losing a job, a friend, a relationship, an argument with a family member, whatever the case may be. Do not take it personal because it has nothing to do with you. Sometimes it does, but like 92-ish% of the time, it doesn't, because people, and even yourself, sometimes you might feel like, or people might feel like you offended them, and you could just be in your own bubble, your own space. You don't even realize it, and not everybody will come to you and say, "Hey, I didn't like what you said the other day," or "I didn't like what you commented on my thing," or whatever. It's okay. They don't have to. They don't owe you anything. That's the thing. Nobody owes you anything. The main thing is you have to have enough love and respect and self-assurance for yourself that, yes, you might get in arguments, or yes, people might do you wrong, or yes, you feel like that nobody's in your corner or nobody's listening, but it's okay. Eventually, the right people, say that again, the right people will be behind you 100%. The right influences will be around you 1,000%. And of course, like I always say, the right energy you will draw will be around you and soon come. And of course, we want it to be right now. Of course, we want all the love, all the support, all the bags in the world, but everything isn't genuine, right? Everything isn't pure, and it takes a lot to realize that and see that through your goggles, right? Through your vision, because not everybody is going to believe your vision, because they are upset that they didn't think about it first. B, that you're grinding more than they are. C, that you're further along than they are. And D, that you are betting yourself versus just not. And it's hard for some people to see you in a light that they wish that they could see themselves in, because they aren't there yet, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, whatever. And that's okay to not be there. Everybody doesn't have to be at the same level, because then if we were all at the same level, there would be no problems in the world. But it's okay if you are here in 2021 and say your friend, cousin, whatever, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever is here. It's okay. It doesn't mean you're better than them, but it just means that they have to get to where you are to be better for themselves. And the one thing too that I've noticed as well is we can't keep putting our peers, our colleagues, our friends, our loved ones, whatever, down because we don't like the way that they're going about things, I always say, it's a cliche, but I always say don't judge people unless you walk in their shoes. But it's really true. You can't really say all this stuff talking out the side of your neck until you really know what somebody's going through. And not everybody's going to say what they're going through because they don't want to. 1, 2, they've done that before, and the feedback they've gotten is not to their liking. So, who wants to go through that same pain and experience again, right? And 3, or did I say C? I don't remember. 3C. People handle things in their own time, in their own way, in their own circumstances. So it's up to us to be like, okay, you don't want to talk about it, you don't want to deal with it, cool. But just know that I'm here for you. And that's all you got to say. Versus, well, why won't you talk to me? Blah, 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 blah. It's okay. They still love you. They know you love them. And, they'll come to you when they're ready. And that's what I've learned too. You got to give people time. right? My foot just fell asleep. Ow. You got to give them time to be ready to want to open up to you. You got to be time for them to accept your way of living, because everybody's not, like I said, everybody's not going to accept your way of living, of life, or what you do, or who you're with, or what you're deciding to do, your political views, or whatever the case may be. But as long as you're okay with it, as long as you love yourself, as long as you're not hurting or harming yourself or anybody, what does it really matter, right? You're doing what you love and what you want to do for you, right? That's what counts, right? We do things, our passions are for us. I mean, of course, it could be for other people down the line, but more importantly, the basis, the foundation, the growth of it should come from what inspires you, what brings you joy. And then as time goes on, you bring it into other people's lives and you showcase it for them to see, because you want them to also see, oh, hey, this is pretty cool. Oh, I could do this. This is amazing. This can be my life. This is something amazing. And I feel like once you find whatever that passion or passions, because sometimes you don't just have one passion, whenever you find that passion, stick to it, hold on to it, and don't let it go. I feel like with times that are changing and energy and people and COVID and now this, what is this new variant called? I don't even know. So much is going on. But try to hold on to what brought you joy in the first place, right? Try to hold on to what brought you passion and a smile every time you think about it, right? Try to hold on to the thing that you live for, right? Try to hold on to yourself, because the passions that you have, the passions that you love to do or want to create or want to showcase or whatever, it's a part of you, right? It's like a piece of you. You're giving a piece of yourself to this craft, to this passion, and you're distributing it to the world, and that's a beautiful thing. So hold on to that, because everything you give out is a piece of you and a part of you. It's a beautiful thing. And I just wanted to say, it does get difficult, trust me. Being an entrepreneur, being a creative, it does get difficult. It does get frustrating. It does get lonely. It does get tiring. It does get time consuming. It does get costly. It does feel like that there's no end, feel like there's no beginning, feel like there's no middle, feel like there's no other way out or nowhere else to go. But at the end of the day, when you lay your head down and you feel like, hey, I did something today that brought me joy, or thank you, I appreciate it, thank you. I did something today that brought me joy. I did something today that brought me a sense of peace and energy and beauty and compassion. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful way to go to sleep. Just keep going, keep your passions, keep believing that one day, somebody will be saying this same story to you, and somebody will be saying, hey, I remember 2 years ago when I saw this video of you going through the same thing I was going through, wanting to give up, feeling like it wasn't going anywhere, feeling like what's the point of it? But I listened to your video and I kept saying, you know what, I'm going to keep doing this passion. I'm going to keep doing this hobby, this craft, this joy I have, being an entrepreneur, being a creative, being an underground artist, whatever you want to call it, and living my life, because only you can live your life, right? Nobody else can live it for you. Only you can be the one to spark that change, right? Be the one to spark that interest into somebody else, right? And I feel like if you keep holding on just a little bit longer, it'll be okay. I feel like times are changing or not changing or staying the same, whatever you want to call it. Just keep on to the joy you have for your passion, and just hold on just a little bit longer. I promise you, 3 times for the Holy Spirit, it will pay off. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to come on here and say that, because with stuff that's been going on that was just sitting on my heart, I wanted to just talk about keeping your passion alive and holding on to it, and just being you, being the best you that you can be, whatever that you is, right? Whatever you love to do, just being the best you can be, and just showcasing that to the world, and just being a ray of sunshine and beauty, you know? But yeah, my foot fell asleep. I can't feel it, so I'm about to wrap this up. But yeah, guys, so Pure Sessions, I'm Lana. I am on Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts for those who love to listen on the go. I appreciate all you guys who are listening, downloading, streaming. I thank you. SoundCloud as well on the go. And for those of you who like the live versions of me, YouTube and Instagram. But yeah, guys, that's about it. Do something today that you didn't do the day before, and be blessed and stay beautiful. Peace.